What's the mechanism? Is it similar to what's happening when you're doing like an assisted therapy session with MDMA, or is it a completely different mechanism inside of the brain?
Yes, that's another really good question, and it is a completely different mechanism. So, a lot of the psychedelics, they act on what's called the 5-HT2A receptor, and I feel like that is the reason why people have these such profound experiences. Whereas when you're looking at ketamine, it's an NMDA receptor antagonist, and so completely different mechanism of action. And like if that's, those receptors names are going over your head, like don't worry about it. All I need to know is that they're completely different from one another, which is good too, because if someone is if they've like over abused psychedelics and they're like, okay, well now I have like nothing left to try. It's like, well, no, you don't. You have ketamine left to try because it does have, a very different mechanism of action that can pull you out of whatever you're kind of going through, and then vice versa as well. Like if you've used ketamine, and I should note that you can build up a tolerance to ketamine, and or if you've used ketamine and you didn't really get the experience that you were looking for, the results that you were looking for, you can in fact use psychedelics and potentially have a completely different and more beneficial experience. So that was a really good question actually for you to ask, and I wish more people kind of knew that, just because a lot of the times ketamine kind of gets grouped into these other medicines, and it's not like unfair, and it's not like ridiculous that people are doing that by any means, but it technically, it isn't a psychedelic. It's an anesthetic, so it has a completely different mechanism of action than say LSD or MDMA. And I mean, MDMA in some ways, when you break it down, is actually an amphetamine, but it has, more classic psychedelic effects to it than ketamine. For that's what more a lot of people would probably agree with that.